Say the words Castlevania or Contra, and for some people these conjure up fond memories of childhood gaming sessions, where the games were hard, lives were few, and you found yourself staring at the game over screen more times than you've had hot meals. Flash forward to 2020 and along comes Wallachia, Reign of Dracula, an action platformer from Megami Games, which aims to recapture some of the fun and frustrations of these games, as you take on the role of Elcin, a young woman on a mission to take down Prince Vlad Dracula, the tyrant ruler of Wallachia responsible for the deaths of Elcin's parents and countless innocent lives. So let's dive into this review and see how the game compares to these legendary titles. So Wallachia opens with a series of images introducing us to Elcin. These outline a backstory and the reason for a hatred of Vlad Dracula, who torched a family home with her parents inside it and took a brother captive. Elcin then befriends an old man called Christian Rosencreuz, and 6 years later the pair depart on a mission to take down Dracula, accompanied by Elcin's wolf Silviu and 2 experienced warriors. Wallachia features some great professional voice acting, and the writing in these opening scenes reminded me very much of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So getting into the game, we first get a quick rundown of the game's controls, with Elcin performing them in an automated video. And I thought this made a pleasant change from the usual tutorial stage we find in most games. Now we control Elcin's movement with either the left thumbstick or D-pad, can jump and double jump with the B button, and down and B performs a slide maneuver which, if I'm honest, is pretty useless. When it comes to attacks, Elcin can attack at close range with a sword, which can also be used to break incoming arrows, but most of the time you'll be attacking at a distance using a bow, and you're able to fire in 8 directions whilst on the move, or can hold L to stand still and take aim. You can also perform a charge shot by holding down the Y button for a short period of time before releasing it. Alongside your unlimited supply of normal arrows, a variety of more powerful special arrow types are occasionally dropped from dead enemies or from supply birds which can be shot down. Finally, Elcin is able to activate several special helper abilities provided she holds enough black orbs, which are also dropped from enemies or found within containers. Each helper costs a different number of orbs to activate, and these include powerful attacks, upgrades to your arrows, or temporary invulnerability. So getting into Wallachia's first level, I was already finding things pretty tough as I attempted to make my way through the game's opening screens. Levels are very much formatted in the style of classic arcade platformers, with enemies entering from either side of the screen at specific points, popping up in windows, appearing from doorways, or jumping out of bushes. And moving too quickly can result in you being overwhelmed by on-screen enemies, so it's usually advisable to take things slowly to begin with. As was the case with many classic platformers, enemies and hazards in Wallachia often appear out of nowhere, catching you off guard. So to begin with, many of your deaths in levels will come from these occurrences until you memorise where and when they happen. Now these type of things likely won't be an issue for veteran classic platform gamers, but new or more casual gamers might find them kind of cheap. So each of Wallachia's stages are generally broken down into 2 or 3 areas providing checkpoints, and they end with reasonably challenging boss battles against Vlad's henchmen, though I found that the boss mechanics were generally pretty simple, and some bosses even appear as standard enemies in later levels. Now as you proceed through levels, you'll collect a bunch of different pickups from dead enemies or from within containers and chests. The more useful of these are those which improve Elcin's sword and arrow damage or add additional health containers, but taking any sort of damage removes these upgrades, and in a move that I found particularly baffling and somewhat unfair, dying also removes your additional health containers, resetting you back to 4, which believe me is not a lot considering the amount of enemies you gotta get through in levels. In the top left corner beside our character portrait we can see our number of lives, and our health, which is depicted as 4 blue blocks which turn red after we take a hit. Losing all 4 results in death, sending you back to the latest checkpoint, and losing all lives sees you starting the whole level from the beginning again. Now Wallachia features 3 different difficulty settings, and after dying several times on the game's second screen, I realised that I'd been playing on hard mode, which increases enemy movement speed but rewards you with additional score. I went ahead and corrected this issue and reduced it down to normal mode, but not long after that I dropped it down to easy mode, which reduces the number of enemies and increases the number of supplies that you gain. But playing on easy mode doesn't record your times, stops trophies unlocking, and also has the words unfinished game, which I assume means that you don't get the full ending or can't actually complete the game. Even on easy mode I felt Wallachia was still a very challenging game, and this just made me feel as though myself and other, shall we say, less able casual gamers were simply being excluded for not being good enough at the game.
Get good, bro.
So gameplay in Wallachia is generally pretty solid. Both the platforming and combat feels fluid, though I did encounter a few issues. Firstly, trying to jump and shoot downwards can sometimes be a pain in the ass, as the jump button plus down makes you perform a slide, so you can't actually aim downwards before hitting the jump button. The second issue is with the precision and timing required for some jumps. Your double jump doesn't give you much height, so several times I missed ledges, and this section in the third level was just ridiculous. I have no idea how I was supposed to make these jumps and not take damage with all the hazards and conveniently placed platforms for you to bang your head on. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't manage to finish Wallachia mainly due to its difficulty. I found that the limited health, loss of upgrades and health on death, and the fact that you only get about a second of iframes when you hit all made the game less accessible, and I also rarely had enough orbs to activate helper abilities due to losing all orbs on death and the game's enemies dropping pickles which provide points, which are completely useless if you're just trying to complete the game and don't care about your high score. In general though, I think Wallachia is a well made game and will definitely appeal to fans of classic platformers who really thrive on the challenge that they provide. For many casual gamers though, I think Wallachia will just prove too frustrating, and I would have liked to have seen more accessibility options included to allow more customization of the game's difficulty. While the game's sound design was good and I liked its visuals, I don't think the environments and sprites looked the sharpest and generally had a bit of a blurry appearance to them. I found the animations in the game were also relatively simple, which did result in some enemy movements looking a little clunky. Now I finally want to mention that completing levels unlocks additional bonus content including minigames, though I didn't get to see many of these due to me being so bad at the game. So now let's get on to rating Wallachia. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with the shovelware stamp of approval reserved for the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on the quantity and quality of gameplay a title has to offer and whether I think it offers value for money to potential buyers. For a rating I'd give Wallachia Reign of Dracula 3 out of 5 stars. Wallachia is a great throwback to old school platformers with plenty of content for the price and challenging gameplay that fans of the original Contra and Castlevania games will likely enjoy, but its mechanics and difficulty may not make it accessible or enjoyable for more casual gamers. The game will be available from the 29th of October, and you can get it from the US Switch eStore where it's usually priced at $14.99, and it should be around the £12 mark on the UK eShop, but I can't find a listing for it yet. Alternatively, the game's also available on Steam. And that's it for this review of Wallachia Reign of Dracula. Hit that like button if it helped you out, and drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for future Switch reviews and content, and join the Starseekers Discord server to become part of its growing community. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care and game on.